Cameras rolling, and action. Hi everyone, welcome to another video, and if you're new here, I would like to introduce myself. I'm Jasper and welcome to the channel. So today's video is a little bit different because this is the first time that I will do this kind of video. This will be a director's commentary kind of video, and we're gonna talk about the first episode that I've uploaded from my documentary series Creative Side. Creative Side is a documentary series about people who use their creativity to escape reality. And in this series, I want to showcase every creative people that has a story to tell. I know that everyone has a story to tell. Maybe it can inspire someone out there to believe in themselves and pursue their creative side. So that is what this series is about. Now that you already have a little bit of context on what this documentary series is all about, which is Creative Side, we can now talk about how I wrote episode 1. So let's start. So this is the notebook on where I wrote every episode of the Creative Side. So I'm just gonna open it up so I can share on how I wrote it and the process of making this documentary. Because when you're gonna make a film or a documentary, it always starts with a story, and this is where I wrote it. Here is the first part, or where it all started. The first page of the Creative Side docu-series. Yeah, it's written here, Creative Side, episode 1. And so when I wrote this episode, I already have an idea on who I will feature on it, and that is John Ray. And if you watch my previous video, I've already met John Ray on a team building vlog that I made back then. First, we talked about what his passion is about and what is his creative side. So his creative side is street photography. So from that, I knew what the theme of this series is about, and that is street photography, because that is his creative side. So I wrote it down here in the notebook. So for the first scene, I was thinking of introducing the street and the actor. So for the opening shot, I showed the street for a while. It's like a short time lapse, like 4 to 5 seconds or less than 4 seconds. And then the actor will enter the frame from the side. The actor already has a camera that he will shoot it on that scene. So the connection of the street and the photographer. And my goal on this episode is that for the first 5 seconds, you already know what this episode is about. It's about the street photographer because I already introduced you the environment and the actor and how it connects. So that was my goal for that opening shot. Now for the first scene, after the opening shot, I want to introduce a B-roll on different parts of the street. So you have a little bit more context and more sense of the environment on what the story is about. So they can know the perspective of the actor, because the actor is a street photographer and he likes taking pictures of the street. So after the opening shot of him taking picture of the street, I will now pass the actor's perspective to the viewers. So yun. So I just remembered that I drew what I want for this is what I wanted. So this will be the street, and then the character will be revealed, and then there will be the titles. So that's what happened on episode 1. I just remembered that I made that. This scene is to keep the viewers engaged, but not so much. Just enough for them to get the context of this theme, which is street photography. So yun, then after that, it will be a black screen and then typing effect, and yun na yung lalabas yung episode 1 and the theme, which is street photography. So that ends that scene. So the next scene is get to know the character. I've already introduced the street and the environment and why he chose street photography, and I gave a little bit of context already. Now it's time for the viewers to know who the character is. So in this scene, I asked him to introduce himself and what is his creative side. And for this scene, I want him to introduce himself and make it into a story. During this scene, I was also inserting some b-rolls because I don't want the viewers to get bored, and I asked him to connect your story to the struggles of your life. And once his story gets to the struggles, that is now the fourth scene, which is conflict. And in every story, this is very important. In every story, there should be a conflict. Conflict is like a struggle story. So I asked him on some struggle that he was facing along his way. So one of his struggle is that someone close to him passed away. So from that, I knew that this scene will keep the viewers' tension rise. So this will help introduce depth to the story because it's kind of sad, and the audience or the viewers will feel that. From that, they will form questions in the viewers, and they will get more engaged. They will watch more of what's next. This is for only my opinion. Now that I've already introduced the conflict, of course there should be a resolution. Just like in every superhero movie or fairy tale movie, whenever there's a bad thing going on, there's always a resolution on how it got fixed, on how the hero faced all those obstacles. I also want that kind of feeling. So that is when I ask the actor on how did you overcome those struggles with the use of photography? So how did your creative side help you on facing those struggles? So for me, this scene is very crucial because this is like your spotlight moment. He will tell the viewers on how he learned from the mistakes or the obstacles that he faced. For the viewers, they can also learn and they will get inspired. So for the next scene, this is about what's next for him. So I wanted to show from this story that since you've overcome those struggles, what's next? My question for him is, what is your goal and where do you think this creative passion will take you? So this scene is just simple. It will answer the question of the viewer on, now that you already overcome those struggles, what's he gonna do now? Where will street photography take him? So from that question, we will now answer it through this scene. So for the next scene, this is now the ending. So for the ending, I have a last question for this story. The question was, what message do you want to say to others out there who wants to learn or do street photography and explore their creative side? My goal for this scene is why I ask him to give a message to the viewers, because I know that there are some other creatives out there that needs help or wants to also learn street photography. So I want those creative people to be more engaged to this story. So when the story ends, they will have a little bit of knowledge from the episode that they watch. They did not just feel the story, but they learned something about it. So that's one of the goals of this episode. My shot list for this ending, I want a very cinematic b-roll because I know that this will be the last part of the episode. So I want a very compelling visual to support his message or his ending line. So I took some shots from Carl, which is from the film crew, which is part of this team, and he was the one who shot some of the b-roll for this episode, and we combined our b-roll because I really want some cinematic dope b-roll for this part. For the ending shot, I have two options that I made. The one that we chose is the part where he's already smiling and he will take a picture of the viewer. That's the scene that's the ending shot, that after the cut of that scene, it will show the title of the series, which is Creative Side Docu Series, and now roll the credits. So yeah, and that was the story of the first episode. That is the process on how I wrote the documentary episode 1. I'm not used to doing this kind of video, but I really wanted to share on the process behind that episode. And if you want another episode of the gear or the camera or different kind of gears that we've used for that episode, I'm glad and I will be happy to do that episode for you. Just leave it a comment down below. Yeah, I just really wanted to share this episode to you guys, and I hope that you learned something. I want you guys, my viewers, to have or experience the journey with me, so we can all learn together, and I think that is good for the community of this channel. So hit like if you made it until the end of this video, and comment down below which is your favorite part from that episode. And as always, see you on the next vlog. That is how I wrote episode 1. That was hard.